Greetings, YouTube. I don't know who predicted this, but if they did, I applaud their foresight because apparently Mark Zuckerberg likes the idea of aiding and abetting fascists. Now, I understand that conflict fuels in online interaction, which drives up viewership, which means more eyes on ads. So uh, Facebook loves the idea of people yelling and screaming at each other. But prior to the election of 2020, they had actually kind of ramped up some of their anti-violence policies. But after the election, they turned them back down, apparently thinking that the red caps were just going to go quietly into that night, that the frothing, screaming white nationalists that had been present on November 6th, 2020 would, as of November 7th, 2020, but just become passive, reasonable adults. Did Zuckerberg make that call? Or are there a group of idiots at Facebook? Um, so they turned him down, which means that they flourished. Now, they did ban the Stop the Steal Facebook page itself, but there are all kinds of copycat groups which are interconnected deeply and were coordinated with U.S. politicians who all helped plan the storming of the U.S. Capitol on March 6th. Sorry, not March 6th, January 6th. Why did I say March 6th? I don't know. January 6th. So, yeah, they were involved in aiding and abetting fascists because they stood back and thought, hey, those red cap fascists, they'll be fine now. They won't be frothing mad people who will storm a building and threaten the lives of members of Congress and the vice president. Nah, they won't do that. They've always been so fucking reasonable. Yeah. I never thought in my wildest dreams as a kid, as I became more and more aware of what computers were capable of doing, that my future would be doomed and the planet's future would be doomed because social media organizations decided that angry white dudes were good for their numbers. Because that seems to be what they've done. They've decided that angry white dudes help them make money. And so they do everything in their power to bend over backwards to support angry white dudes who are almost entirely fascists. I'm one of the few angry white dudes that isn't. I don't know how many of us there are, but we seem to be pretty rare. And Zuckerberg still isn't being held accountable. You see, I want social media organizations to have the same types of regulations, if not stronger regulations, than like the tobacco industry does. And in fact, I would like all corporations that deal with the internet to have incredibly strong privacy controls. I mean, I want every single corporation that deals with the internet and handles the personal information of customers or their clients or what have you, or their users, to be on a choke chain with their feet about this far off the ground. Them just fucking strangling. And when they show us that maybe they can be trusted, we'll slack that off and let them breathe a little. But we would not want them to make sure that they know that they even hint at crossing the line and screwing with our data or aiding and abetting fascists. We yank on that cord and just leave them twisting in the wind until they fucking die. Because that's what they deserve. These corporations are not people. They're fucking pieces of paper. They are artificial entities controlled by billionaires who are destroying American democracy and the planet's capacity to support human life. So yes, I want strong controls placed on them. And at the moment, the one that pops into mind first for me is Mark Zuckerberg. Because he originally wanted to create a site so he could rate women because he was a misogynist, and has now instead found himself in charge of a corporation that has seemed to be tailor-made and designed to help fascists destroy democracy. Bravo there, Mark! You've done such a stellar fucking job!